time is over, and the Cubs are starting the second half tonight here in Atlanta. 75 games to go. Right now, the Cubs holding down the second wild card spot as they open up a weekend set against the Braves. Great to have you with us, and we are refreshed and ready to go. Jim DeShays and Len Casper with you. Roster move today. Miguel Montero, as expected, goes to the disabled list with a jammed left thumb. So 22-year-old Kyle Schwarber is back.
We saw Kyle Schwarber during an interleague play. He was called up, made a handful of starts as a designated hitter. Certainly impressed. Went back down to Iowa, or went to Iowa actually for the first time, and tore it up there as well. There are the numbers: 364 in that brief cameo with the Cubs, and then down at Iowa in 17 games, he had 333. And he also hit for plenty of power.
And he will be back at the plate, his first major league start as a catcher here tonight. So he's going to hit second. That means Bryant third, Rizzo fourth, and those two guys in the middle, the All-Stars, have really carried this offense.
Yeah, Rizzo will be batting cleanup for the first time all year, and the offense has really sputtered of late, hitting just .211 in the month of July. So obviously they need these two guys to play up to their potential. Two All-Stars having very nice years, but they've got to find a way to score more runs.
Well, the schedule favorable. First 17 out of the break against sub-500 clubs. Kyle Hendricks, last 3 times out, has not given up a run. He'll face the Braves' 2-time opening day starter, Julio Teheran, when we come back. And we'd like to welcome all of our viewers watching on Mediacom tonight in Sugar Grove, Illinois. Great to have you with us as we kick off the second half on a nice night here in Atlanta. It's hot, it's humid, but it's Atlanta, and it's mid-July. That's the way it usually is here in Georgia. Let's check out the Cubs Southwest starting lineup that will face right-hander Julio Teheran. Dexter Fowler is from Atlanta, and he will lead it off in center. Kyle Schwarber making his starting debut as a catcher, caught an inning his first time around. Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo, the All-Stars 3 and 4. Jorge Soler, the right fielder, will bat 5th. It's Chris Coghlan, the left fielder, hitting 6th. That moves Starlin Castro down to 7th, the lowest he's batted in the order this year. The pitcher Hendricks hits 8th, and rookie Addison Russell bats 9th.
We'll take a look at the Atlanta club defensively here tonight. Perez, Maben, Markakis left center, right? Markakis has won a couple gold gloves, and He set a record earlier this year for consecutive games played in the outfield without an error. It was snapped at 398. Keep your eyes on Andrelton Simmons in this series. He may be the best defensive player in all of baseball. Back-to-back Gold Gloves the last 2 years. He's made just 3 errors this season. Joined on the infield by the veteran Uribe, the youngster Peterson, and then Kelly Johnson, who's filling in at first base for Freddie Freeman. A.J. Pierzynski is behind the plate.
Dan Iasonia will call the balls and strikes. Toby Basner at first. Tim Timmons, I believe, is the crew chief. He has the most experience on this particular crew. Is at second, and Todd Titchener will be over third. Well, welcome back, partner. Hope you had a
happy second half. Yeah.
Comfortable, relaxing 4-day break.
Absolutely. Did a little spelunking.
Very nice. How did it go?
It was wonderful.
Great. First of 7 between the Cubs and the Braves. We will see them at Wrigley Field in August.
And the Cubs have not had a lot of luck against this club in recent years. This is our Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher. He's 24-year-old right-hander Julio Teheran. He's a good one, not having a really good year. That ERA quite inflated over what we've seen from him the last couple of seasons. He's a winning pitcher, however, at 6-4 to go along with that 4.56 ERA. Really good his last couple times out, so I suspect he's going to put up good numbers in the second half. He's been really good here in his home ballpark, 5-0 here with the 2.04, but for whatever reason he has really struggled outside of Atlanta. The home run ball has been an issue for him. He's allowed 16 of those this year. Well, numbers across the board, not what we're used to seeing from Teheran. The walk rate is up, the strikeout rate down a little bit. Talented kid. He's got a good arm. He'll top out at 94 miles an hour, sit comfortably around 91 with the fastball. When he's on his game, his slider probably his best pitch. He'll mix in an occasional curve and a change.
Cubs with their best record going into the break since 2008. And we remember how things turned out that year as they kind of ran away from the pack. And 47-40 has to feel good. And as I mentioned in the open, this starts a stretch of 17 in a row against teams with losing records. Doesn't always play out that way, that they're able to get on a good streak here, but just based on that, maybe they can now pull away from the rest of the pack as they have a 1-game lead over the Mets for that second wild card. And Joe Madden is not conceding anything in terms of the top wild card or even the NL Central crown. They're 8 behind St. Louis starting play tonight.
Well, always aim high.
Here we go. Fowler swings at the first pitch, and that gets away from Kelly Johnson into right. Fowler around first. He's going to stand there with what probably will be charged as an error on Kelly Johnson. No Freddie Freeman. He's on the DL. So the Braves just kind of mixing and matching over there. Chris Johnson, and tonight Kelly Johnson.
Well, Fowler gets a first pitch fastball right over the heart of the plate, rolls over on it a little bit, probably had a little top spin on it, but the play that still should have been made by Johnson. But a good start nonetheless.
So here is Schwarber. Not sure how long Miguel Montero is going to be out. Getting that thumb looked at, but enough to put him on the disabled list, and it'll likely be more than the 15 days. He's got a sprained left thumb. So Schwarber is here. He will not catch every day. Probably, at least at first, will not catch Lester and Arrieta. Cubs have 3 on the roster. David Ross, Taylor Teagarden, the other 2 catchers. That gives Joe some flexibility. Talking to him before the game, you know, the Cubs started with 3 catchers on the active roster before they traded Wellington Castillo, and he said, I kind of liked it.
Yeah, and it's going to give him what could be a very potent pinch hitter in Kyle Schwarber on the days he's not catching. And we'll just have to see how it works out. How, you know, and if the Cubs continue to struggle to score runs and Schwarber's swinging a hot bat, he may get more starting assignments than we anticipate.
93 degrees as we got started. I don't love the term hot Atlanta, but I suppose tonight would be the night to use it.
Yeah, it's been unseasonably mild here the last couple summers, but it's back to being Atlanta.
An error to start the game. 1-1 on the rookie Schwarber. That is on the outside for a strike. He was just the MVP of the Futures game on Sunday in Cincinnati, which is pretty cool considering he grew up in Ohio, not too far from Cincinnati, as a Reds fan.
Yeah, had that big series in Cleveland when he was up with the Cubs earlier. Putting together a very impressive resume for a young player.
Braves at double play depth, and that ball lined into right. Markakis will retrieve. Fowler on his way to third. Welcome back, Kyle Schwarber. Now 9 out of 23 at the big league level, although he hits wherever he goes. Every level in the Cubs chain, 6 different stops, including the big leagues. JD's hit over 300.
Yeah, that time Tehran, he threw the pitch that AJ was asking for, an elevated fastball, and Schwarber jumped all over it. So they might have to reassess that plan.
Now All-Star Chris Bryant, 0 for 1 with a walk in the big game Tuesday night. He played left field, came in the 6th inning. Beaten out by Albert Pujols in the first round of the Home Run Derby on Monday, and a swing and a miss. That was a slider from Tehran. Pretty neat. His dad Mike got to throw to him for the Derby. And Chris set a record by participating in the Home Run Derby just 87 days after his major league debut. Evan Longoria had the old mark, 93 days.
Yeah, there was 6 starters younger than 25 in the All-Star game, or something to that effect. I mean, there's so much good young talent in the game now, and Chris Bryant obviously a big part of it.
Chased one out of the zone on the slider that time, and it's 1-2 on him.
Yeah, that's the one. Tehran pitched twice against the Cubs last year, and he pitched a dandy here. 8 innings, a 1-run ball with a bunch of strikeouts, and the slider really mystified, especially the right-handed hitters last year.
Golden opportunity here in the very first inning, and Bryant strikes out. Slider again. Big first out for Tehran.
See, one in the zone, and then he started working down and away, and Chris, who's usually very patient, just didn't recognize the spin on that slider, and maybe a little overly aggressive with that man on third base. Expanded his zone.
Rizzo hitting cleanup for the first time this year. 43 times he's batted second, 43 times third. Started for the NL at the DH spot, went 0 for 2 in the American League 6-3 win on Tuesday, and a swing and a miss. Edged out by Josh Donaldson in the first round of the Derby. And what a first half. Spent a couple of days back home in South Florida after the game. And a short flight here to Atlanta. We're here for the next 3 and then off to Cincinnati. 3 days, 4 games, including a makeup day nighter on Wednesday. Iran will check on Schwarber.
Braves playing deep, and the other way for Rizzo. Look at Perez, the left fielder, how close he is to the left field line. Now Rizzo does hit a lot of balls to left, but I don't know that I've seen a left fielder deployed quite like that for Anthony. Big ballpark, big gaps here.
2-1. Braves will move to the suburbs in 2017. They even have a house picked out and everything.
Well, you know, they've got kids in school now.
Right.
The Braves do. And they like the schools better out there.
SunTrust Park will open in 2017. The 2-1 misses again. 3 balls and a strike. Jorge Soler on deck.
Little change piece. Rizzo wouldn't bite. Decision time for Brzezinski and Tehran as to how aggressive they want to be on 3-1 here to Rizzo. To try to challenge, to try to trick, or to try to paint. Going slide ball, looks like.
A.J. Brzezinski has done a really nice job for the Braves. This young pitching staff. Rizzo lines, caught on the dive by Peterson. Everybody has to hold. He hit it right on the button. But that's out number 2.
That's no way to start the second half. That's bad luck. So that'll go down as Rizzo failed to get that guy in from third with less than 2 outs. But, you know, when you see the at bat and you see what he didn't fail at anything. Had a heck of an at bat, hit it hard. Unfortunately, right at the second baseman, or in close proximity to the second baseman. Nice play by Peterson. Opportunity for Soler here to be a hero. First, he's got to get the uni in order.
Just 4 home runs in the first half. Remember, he missed a month with a sprained ankle, hitting a lot of line drives. A shift against him. Simmons covering the hole on the left side with Peterson shaded toward the middle.
Well, the hope is that these kids grow up in a hurry as things start to get tight here in the second half of the season. They're going to need Soler. They're going to need Addison Russell to rise up.
The manager met with the troops before batting practice today, I think, just to remind them of their position. If the season ended today, they would be a playoff team. I think one of the big things for Joe is just to keep telling these guys how good they are. Hey, you can compete with anybody in this league. Two balls and a strike. The kick, the pitch, it's in there. It's 2-2. An error and a single to start it, but then a strikeout and a line out since, and Tehran trying to get out of it completely with no damage.
Yeah, unfortunate if Soler doesn't come through here. You have to think slider here. Well, EJ calling for a fastball away.
6'2" right-hander on a 2-2, and it's high. And that'll give Schwarber a head start. And Johnson will likely now play behind him at first with a full count.
Cubs have leaned heavily on their pitching over the last few weeks, and very difficult to sustain that level. Man, they've been unbelievably good.
Here comes a 3-2 to Soler, and we'll do it again. That ball lined foul to right.
Soler just trying to stay back a little longer so he's not fooled by the off-speed pitch. A little tardy on the heater, but that's the nature of 3-2. Can't sell out on that fastball.
Tehran, an all-star last year, 222 innings. As JD mentioned, he's been way better at home than on the road this season. Another 3-2, and he popped him up, and this will get him out of the jam. Uribe, the third baseman, to end the threat. Braves coming up against Kyle Hendricks when we come back. Under 500. They could be in sell mode here. We'll discuss as the weekend goes along. Peterson came over from the Padres. So did Cameron Maybin. Nick Markakis still looking for his first home run of the season. We mentioned Johnson in for the DL Freddie Freeman. Juan Uribe at third, acquired from the Dodgers earlier. Przinsky could make claim to being their first half MVP. Simmons can really pick it. Doesn't do a whole lot offensively. Perez in left. And the pitcher Tehran hitting ninth.
See who's doing what for the Cubs defensively this evening. Coghlan left, Fowler center, Soler right. Brian Castro, Russell Rizzo on the infield. Schwarber with a starting assignment behind home plate. Our Lexus pursuing starting pitcher is Kyle Hendricks. Boy, he's been really, really good. 3 consecutive scoreless starts, 22 1/3 consecutive scoreless innings. His first ever start against the Atlanta Braves.
18th start of the season. You see he's an inning away from 100. And 1-1 the count on Jace Peterson, acquired in December from San Diego in the Justin Upton deal. There's a 2-bouncer to the rookie Addison Russell.
The fun thing to note about Kyle Hendricks during this streak of shutout starts, it's been a little different game each time. You know, last time out leaned heavily on his changeup. A couple starts ago against the Mets, he threw a lot of sinkers. He's got a lot of different weapons. The one thing he typically won't do is blow you away with his velocity. But he can reach back and get a little something extra from time to time.
Cameron Maybin, acquired from the Padres on April 5th. That was the blockbuster Craig Kimbrell deal on the eve of the regular season, and he had a really nice first half. Some question marks about whether the Braves would be interested in trading him or hanging on to him. And he seemed like a change of scenery was in order after some struggles in San Diego. Injury problems, some bad numbers. He had the 25-game suspension last year for a banned stimulant. It's worked out so far here in Atlanta. 2 balls and a strike.
Signed through next year plus an option.
That's rolled into center for a base hit.
I think if I'm the Braves, I'm pretty much willing to back up the truck and listen on just about all of my guys. Obviously, you're not going to trade everybody, but you have to be willing to listen as they try to get things turned around here. For me, they've actually played above expectations for most of this year. They've lost 5 in a row coming into the break, and they're now 5 games below 500.
They made a bunch of roster moves today, and they announced their manager, Freddie Gonzalez, and their entire coaching staff now signed through next year with a club option for the following season. Here's Nick Markakis. He was brought in after the Jason Hayward deal to St. Louis and takes a strike. So he got a 4-year $44 million free agent contract after 9 years in Baltimore. A couple of gold gloves with the Orioles. You see good on base skills, but he has by and large hit 3rd or 4th for the Braves, and he still doesn't have a home run, and that's still the case. There's an out at second. Nicely done. 4-6. As the throw by Russell to Castro just beat Maybin for out number 2.
Yeah, Addison Russell continues to make so many good plays, especially going up the middle. And what's really good about this play is the way he delivers this ball to Castro. You see a lot of guys on that one. They're going to try a little underhanded flip, and he probably would not have gotten enough on the throw. Great sense of the timing of that play by Russell to get the speedy Maybin.
Now the veteran Kelly Johnson back with his original club. I love this note. Ready for a note?
I'm ready for a note. I might even take notes.
2011 to 2014, Kelly Johnson played for all 5 American League East teams consecutively. Toronto, Tampa Bay, the Yankees, Boston, Baltimore. Those final 3 teams. He wore that uniform. last year.
He's the Kevin Bacon of the AL East.
There you go. Runner goes, swing and a miss, and the throw is high and gets into center, and there'll be an error on Schwarber with Markakis now to third.
Well, yeah, it looks like Freddie Gonzalez is going to try to test Schwarber here a little bit. Markakis not a base stealer. He got a good pitch, a changeup. And Schwarber having to hurry the throw, doesn't finish the throw. Sails it high. It'll go as a stolen base and an E2.
Meantime, 1-2. And the left-handed hitting Kelly Johnson lays off that changeup. 2-2. Interesting matchup here. These two offenses, contrasting styles. The Braves are a contact team. They have the fewest strikeouts in the league. The Cubs offense has the most.
Excuse me. Braves 10th in the league in runs scored. Dead last in home runs.
Nicely done there with that runner at third. 3-2. Yanked in the right, and the Braves lead 1-0. So that steal and error end up coming home to roost for the Braves. We take a 1-0 advantage.
Scoreless streak for Hendricks is done. Like a hanging changeup here. 80 miles an hour out over the heart of the plate.
That streak lasted exactly 23 innings for Kyle Hendricks. And now Juan Uribe, acquired from the Dodgers in late May. 15th major league season, ball one. The game is not fair, partner. Cubs get runners at first and third with nobody out, with 3, 4, 5 coming up. Do not score. The Braves get a run, and it just looked like a real harmless 2-out deal, didn't it?
Yeah, 2 outs, nobody on. Markakis on first, and stolen base, error, 1 bad pitch, and a 1-run lead.
Two balls, no strikes. Brzezinski on deck. Ground ball, and it'll be picked up by Russell, and that will end the inning. A couple of hits, and the first run of the night, 1-0 Atlanta. Gold. Watch Bears Life with Robbie Gold, presented by Xfinity, Saturday at 5 on CSN Chicago. They're saying that run by the Braves in the bottom of the first was unearned. So Tehran, victim of an error to start his night, worked out of that big time jam in the top of the first, and he'll face Coghlan, Castro, and Hendricks here in the second. Coughlin's consecutive games played streak, which had been the longest active such streak, ended at 150 games on Sunday. Did not get in against the White Sox. 367 career against Atlanta. Number one among all active players with at least 150 plate appearances. Ball one.
Beautiful thing about the All-Star break, it's kind of artificial, but you can kind of push a reset button. Okay, turn the page, whatever's been going on for the last few weeks. If I'm not happy with it, I can just play in the back nine and go, wow.
So 2-1.
Really? Umpires have to push a reset button too. But anyway, so you say you've been scuffling along, as Chris has, and a lot of these Cub hitters. Have you take that break away from the game for 4 days and just recharge the batteries and put all that garbage behind you and start anew?
Full count, 3-2.
Although I wouldn't be surprised to find out that he spent some time in the batting cage over the break. He's a grinder. He's the kind of guy that Joe Madden might be inclined to say, please don't go hit. Just relax, clear your mind.
Away, 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 and they're going to stay there. And it worked out. Foul tip, strike three.
And throw one in the zone, got the strikeout. Hey, Cub fans, let's go. Come out and enjoy the new Budweiser bleachers. There's no experience quite like it. The combination of exciting Cubs baseball and our new bleacher experience will keep the Budweiser bleachers one of the hot spots for entertainment in Chicago. Visit Cubs.com/bleachers to buy tickets and learn more about the available spaces.
As you see on Menard's pitch tracks, nice to be able to keep track of an at bat, a sequence, and you saw everything to Coghlan was really off the outside corner. 1-0 on Castro.
So you're saying here in the heart of Dixie, the hitter should look away.
Exactly. Here comes the 1-1, and it's chopped foul to third. Tehran's from Colombia. He signed with the Braves as a 16-year-old, and one of the Braves scouts who signed him was his uncle Miguel. He sat on the Braves' top prospects list for 6 years. A lot of that had to do with how young he was when he signed, but his name had been well known among Braves fans for quite a while before they actually saw him pitch with success here at this level. Debuted at the big league level in 2011. As I mentioned earlier, an all-star last year.
He's one of those guys, because you have heard his name for so long, you think he's older than he is. He's just 24 years of age.
Castro went on appeal. Call made by Toby Basner. Third strikeout for Tehran. Now the pitcher Hendricks, 3 out of 34 on the year.
(14-13) with a 2.89 last year for Tehran. 14-8 with a 3.20 ERA the year before.
Tomorrow night, lefties John Lester and Manny Banuelos. And then on Sunday, Jake Arrieta against All-Star Shelby Miller. Ground ball to the vacuum, Andrelton Simmons. Cubs go down 1-2-3 in the second. Northside Data's strong fan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Nice Friday night crowd here in Atlanta. Fireworks after the ball game. These two clubs kicking off the second half tonight. So if our math is correct, it's always suspect. Crossing the Braves off the list. The only other two National League teams the Cubs have yet to play this year would be the Phillies and the Giants. Does that sound right to you?
I would agree with that.
Okay. A.J. Przinsky, 1 ball, 1 strike. Career renaissance for the 38-year-old in his 18th Major League season. Began the year as a backup to Christian Bethancourt, but quickly grabbed most of the playing time. Bethancourt eventually demoted to the minors in mid-June. And AJ has been really good. Liner will hold up for Soler for the out. 1 away. Well, it's always worth revisiting the trio of starts Kyle Hendricks had at the end of the first half. And as you said, he didn't always do it in the same manner, but the results were the same.
Yeah, and the one consistent, well, more than one consistent, but he only walked 2 in that stretch in those 3 ball games, striking out 17. Chopped about a run, just under a run off of his ERA over those 3 games. He's walked 1 or none in each of his last 7 starts. That hadn't been done by a Cub pitcher since Greg Maddux in 2004. Not bad, maybe a little low. You talked about Simmons earlier not doing a whole lot with the bat, but such a good defender. I wonder when the point in his career comes when he just starts making all-star teams every year, regardless of what he does with the bat, a la Ozzie Smith.
Yep. That's a strike. It's 3-2. strike three.
So Schwarber slides over the outside corner. Hendricks pretty darn good at hitting that spot. Look where he worked. Simmons just gave him nothing over the middle of the plate.
Yuri Perez playing left. Former National and Yankee. They got him on waivers from New York in January. 25 years old, 49th big league game.
Not a lot of homegrown talent on this Braves club.
Up the middle. Not hit terribly hard. That gave Russell time to get over there and make the play. Braves go in order in the second. 1-0 they lead.
Bats. At bat is up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or tablet.
Nothing Atlanta. Tehran has sent down 6 in a row since the Schwarber single. 2 batters in. Addison Russell, ball 1. Bounced foul past Gary Jones. That is a large beverage.
It's a two-hander.
Foul tipped, 1-2. Matt Holliday off the DL. The All-Star did not participate on Tuesday because of the quad injury. That one driven out into deep right. Markakis on the back pedal.
Krasinski drifting out towards the pitcher's mound. just trying to tell Tehran to be careful. I don't think he liked the location of that fastball. It was up out over the plate. Russell gave it a pretty good ride, but it's out number 1.
All right, so here's kind of a fun one. Should Cub fans root for the Mets or the Cardinals tonight? They're playing one another in St. Louis. I mean, I know the answer. Nobody is a diehard Cub fan is going to root for the Cardinals. But as I said earlier, Cubs are 8 back in the division. They're 1 ahead of the Mets for the second wild card spot. It's too early, I guess,
create some confusion, though, doesn't it?
To parse, that whole race. But yeah, if we were in late September, you'd be hard pressed to root for the Mets if you were a Cub fan, right? Syndergaard and Lynn, good matchup tonight.
So John Smoltz was quoted as saying that Met rotation is more talented than the Braves staff he was on here with Glavine and Maddox.
How about that?
Yeah. I'm not sure I agree with him.
Well, I guess the standard would be, are they going to have 3 Hall of Famers?
Right, and I think the point probably is they have better stuff, better, more velocity and sharper breaking pitches. But what you do with that stuff is a talent too, and those 3 gentlemen were really good at it. Even though, Smoltz was a power guy, Glavine Maddox not.
John, I think there were times when he felt slighted too, that those other guys were given maybe more credit because he did have better stuff.
Yeah.
And I understand that. The other fun one too is those 3 guys. There was a competitive thing that went on there too, and it ended up helping all of them. Didn't they all play golf together? And
yeah, they had a golf thing set up in the clubhouse here. It was a very pitcher-friendly environment that Bobby Cox had when those guys were on his club, and you could understand why. Whatever you need, boys.
Yeah.
Just keep trotting it out there every 5th day and do your thing.
3-2 on Fowler. He reached on an error in the first, and he reaches on a walk this time. So the Cubs went 7-0 against the Mets. Have not seen the Giants yet. Arizona 5 back. How about the Pirates? 2 wins over the Cardinals Saturday and Sunday night. And extra innings both nights. That has a lot of pundits thinking the Pirates are going to catch and pass the Cardinals for the division. Strike on Schwarber.
Well, yeah. Well, the Pirates have been playing the best baseball of anybody in the National League for a month and change, I guess.
Would not expect Kyle Schwarber to play any outfield this time around. He may occasionally go out and do some extra work with Dave Martinez, but that's not the priority. Right now it's catching and hitting.
Yeah, and
I think that's the right play. He's got a lot on his plate.
But that's the thing. It's a learning process for both the player and the organization as they get to know the kid, and as they see him settle in up here a little bit, they might feel like, you know what, he could take this on. Let's let's hit him some fly balls, go out there, do some early work, and just kind of see how he settles in. And if he looks comfortable enough, and if he's swinging it well, they might say, you know what, why not?
And I think that goes for the catching too. The staff, they don't get to watch him every day, obviously at AAA. So there are going to be things he has to work on. He's not going to catch every day, but maybe he can push his way into an extra day or two a week with his work behind the plate. They're going to give him all the support he needs. He's 2 for 2, by the way, at the plate. The main reason he's here. Markakis with the throw toward third. It's late. Cubs threatening again. First and third, one out here in the third inning.
Right, because if you're the manager who's charged with filling out that lineup card every day, and you've got a struggling team, and you've got a guy who's swinging it the way he has, you want to try to find a way to put him in the lineup. So here we go, first and third, this time with one out, but it'll be the second look at Tehran for Bryant and Rizzo. Or at least for Bryant, and for Rizzo, barring a double play.
How do you like the batting gloves? He broke out in the home run derby. The big bear on the back of the gloves. Ball one.
Is there is it a cub? Is that the bear?
I think so. One and one.
He's having a devil of a time picking up that slider.
I suppose it was a grisly looking pitch. One and two. Well, looks like at least while Tehran is in there, that's a pitch Chris is either going to have to make an adjustment on to make contact or not swing at it. It's proven to be difficult here these first two at bats.
Yeah, and you think he'd really be locked up with a heater in here.
Slider again, strike three.
I bet you if you check your Twitter feed, somebody's going to be saying, see, he shouldn't have done the home run derby.
Yeah, you might hear that, but look, was Joe upset that they got knocked out in the first round? Probably wouldn't admit it, but now that it's timed, I think guys get pretty tired. I like the change in the format, though. Much more viewer friendly. Inside on Rizzo. Another chance here for the Cubs. Same spot in the order. 2-0.
That was a great example with the veteran Pierzynski back there and Chris hitting of a catcher not overthinking it. I mentioned he's probably set up for a fastball in after all those sliders. I think Pierzynski just made the determination until he proves to me that he can either hit that slider or lay off of it, we're going to keep throwing it. No doubt Rizzo's got the green light here.
Ball four, they're loaded. They'll bring up Soler. Second walk of the inning.
By the way, did you see the article in Fangraphs about Dexter Fowler?
I haven't.
Yeah. Story there. He is among the league leaders on being rung up on called third strikes on pitches out of the strike zone.
Really? Well, I know Bryant has taken some called thirds. Nearly half, I believe, have been out of the zone. Yeah, the expanded strike zone definitely has hurt a few guys who you would say are pretty patient. That's where your patience works against you.
Yeah.
Taking a pitch that you're convinced is not in the strike zone.
And you don't want to compromise your zone and kind of lose where you are in terms of your organization of the strike zone.
The 0-1 to Soler is low and away. Our AT&T UVerse Multiview. Bases loaded, 2 outs, trailing 1-0. Ooh, vicious cut at that pitch.
Just tough to get on top of that riding fastball. But timing wise, he was right on it.
Ron has the sign he wants from Przinsky. That ball will get out of the left center, and it's going to score a couple. Fowler is in. Schwarber scores. Soler to second. He's going to be out by a mile. Not sure why he just didn't get caught up in a rundown to at least give Rizzo a chance. At any rate, he does give the Cubs the lead. It's now 2-1 as we go to the bottom of the third. Soler to give the Cubs the lead. And JD, I'm going to ask you to analyze the end of this play, because this is why you make the big bucks.
Yeah, well, remember that show, The Facts of Life? You take the good, you take the bad. The facts of life with a young player, I guess. First off, the good, a 2-run single by Soler, and it makes sense to take a big aggressive turn. There's nobody home. The first baseman's over in a cutoff position, so you can take a wide turn, read the play, and maybe he thought the ball was going to third base. You see Maben shifting the shoulders a little bit at the end, but clearly he still had time to scramble back to first, and if nothing else, as you mentioned, getting a run down. Just don't give up on the play.
The 0-1 to Tehran, late swing, 0-2.
He's still pacing around out there in right field, frustrated with himself.
Called strike 3. Follow Patrick Mooney, our Cubs insider, all season long on Comcast Sportsnet. Brought to you by Nationwide agent Jeff Vukovich. Visit Jeff at jeffvuk.com. Nationwide is on your side. Back to the top, and Peterson. 58th overall pick in the 2011 draft by the Padres. Made his major league debut last year. He was a two-sport guy at college. Played defensive back and also played baseball for McNeese State.
Cowboys. I believe.
Okay, I'll trust you.
Good on base numbers as a minor leaguer. He's shown the ability to take a walk. Doesn't hit for much power. Good stolen base numbers as a minor leaguer, but not here this year. He's stolen 8, been caught 9 times.
You are correct on the Cowboys. You name another athlete from another sport who went to McNeese State.
McNeese State.
Hall of Fame basketball player went there.
Well, if I believe what they're saying in the truck, I'm going to go with Joe Dumars.
Joe Dumars. Yep.
It's in Louisiana, right? McNeese State.
It is in Lake Charles, which is actually Peterson's hometown. Bounce to first. Rizzo back of the bag will flip to Hendricks. 2 outs.
Get some pretty good gumbo down there. Visit the Cubs Authentics auction page every week for your chance to own one-of-a-kind game-used Cubs items. This week's auction includes the 1958 throwback jerseys worn on July 12th. With the Ernie Banks, the number 14s. Go to Cubs.com/authentics before this Sunday night at 8 to place your bid. The Cubs will donate net proceeds from the sale of Cubs Authentics to Cubs charities.
Ball 1 to Maben. Now 2-0.
Atlanta club won 96 games 2 years ago, won the division. Been a lot of turnover since then. Finished 4 games below 500 last year.
Yeah, calling this year a restart or a remodel. This transition period as they pinpoint 2017. They open their new ballpark. No Craig Kimbrell, Melvin Upton. They got dealt to San Diego. A lot of new faces. And ball 4.
And Freddie Freeman, their best player, on the DL with an injured wrist. They'd hope to get him back right after the break, but it looks like it's going to be later on in August. Jason Grilly, who was their closer, blew out. He's done for the year.
He's got a ruptured Achilles. Mike Minor, shoulder surgery. Got a new president of baseball operations, John Hart, the longtime baseball executive. Remember when he took the job on an interim basis, he basically said, I'm not going to do this full time, and I think John Sherholtz talked him into it. So a fun challenge for the veteran John Hart.
Yeah, and with the new ballpark coming, I imagine they're anticipating a big bump in revenue. The attendance is down here. They're drawing just 24,000 and change.
Yeah, that's the lowest they've ever averaged in this ballpark, and the lowest for the Braves since 1990. 24,903 their average. They'll be well above that tonight.
Looked like he was going and leaning a little bit that time as well. He's stolen 15 bases, been caught but 4 times. Hendricks got quick feet.
Joe wanted to have a second to
waiting.
take another look before the next pitch is thrown. And they will not challenge.
That success rate for Maben of 79% is about 10% better than league average.
Interesting for a base stealer. There's no protection for the fingers. A lot of guys will carry their batting gloves to keep their fingers kind of in a fist and a ball to avoid jamming it.
Phalanges, yeah. Markakis hit 14 home runs last year. He'd never been a huge power guy. Had a couple 20 home run seasons with Baltimore. As Len mentioned last time he was up, really odd that he has not gone deep yet this year.
Right field corner for Markakis. Maben toward third. Bo Porter's going to send him. Loses his helmet, but he scores to tie it at 2-2. So Markakis without a home run, but a game-tying double here, and it's 2-2.
Now, this ballpark is a tough hitter's park in the sense that it's tough to hit home runs here, but because the outfield is so big, it plays a little bit like Coors Field, and that, you know, if you bunch the gaps a little bit, you give a lot of room on the lines. It's tougher to get over to the line to cut that ball off. A smaller ballpark, you might be able to cut that one off before it gets all the way to the corner. Perhaps keep Maben at third base. Cubs been playing Markakis pretty much straight up in the outfield. I've noticed with the Braves outfielders, they've been playing their center fielder kind of an extreme left center or right center. They're basically saying we're going to give you one gap, as opposed to playing straight up. And, you know, years ago when Glavine and Maddox and all those guys were here, Smoltz, they had, the philosophy was pitch away, play away. Maybe there's still a little shred of that remaining in their philosophy.
Ball one on Kelly Johnson. Identical line scores at the moment. 2 runs, 3 hits, 1 error for both teams. (3-0). Uribe on deck.
Johnson's been in the game a good while now. He's always been a pull hitter, dead pull hitter, likes to hit the fastball. Cubs play 3 on the right side of the infield for him.
just caught the edge of the zone. Curveball is in there. It's 3-2.
All-Star break actually came at a bad time for Kyle Hendricks. He was absolutely locked in his last 3 starts. Now working with extra rest.
Swing and a miss, so he comes all the way back to get Kelly Johnson after a 3-0 start, but the Braves tie it up on the Markakis double. Watch Chicago's biggest sports fans belly up to the bar and test their sports trivia knowledge. Sunday at 7 on CSN Chicago. Why is it that when a business goes belly up, that's bad, but when you belly up to the bar, that
I don't know.
Something good.
That's a great question, Stephen Wright.
Nearing dusk here in Atlanta. Two tie as Coughlin starts an inning for the second time, batting 6th in the lineup. He led off the second with a strikeout, batting first here in the 4th. Braves are in their 50th season here in Atlanta. They moved here from Milwaukee 1966, and their entire span here in Atlanta has been spent in this area, in the city proper, Fulton County Stadium and now Turner Field. And as we mentioned, they're going to be moving out of the city in 2 years. Gobbled up by Uribe, former shortstop, very solid defensively over there at third. The Braves taken a little heat actually for that. You think about Major League Baseball, by and large, it's an urban sport, right? Well, most of the ballparks, if you look around the game today, and you go in the Wayback Machine, they were all right around Mass transit right in the heart of the city. So you don't see a ton of teams do what they're doing. They obviously felt,
I think they
for
did
all those reasons, financially, whatever, that they're better off going where they're going.
They saw a lot of their fans come from that area, and they figured, well, we might as well bring the product to them. They're the folks buying the tickets.
You get into this whole kind of socioeconomic debate about ballparks. This is what I love about Wrigley Field, is that, it fits right into the neighborhood, and you have a lot of other sports where they build facilities and the neighborhood is built around the facility.
Right. Well,
I think that's in Miami. They were hoping would happen in Little Havana.
We build a lot of ballparks with a noble purpose that area is going to bubble up and there'll be a lot of growth. And, we've seen it in Denver. That Lodo district of Denver blew up. That's wonderful. And slowly but surely, you're seeing it in Houston around Minute Maid Park.
Definitely worked in San Francisco as Castro took a call third.
About our Xfinity high-speed replay, Addison Russell with a couple of very good defensive plays in this ball game already. The forced play at second quickly unloads to Castro, and then one through the 5-hole on Hendricks. I'm not sure if he got a piece of him or not, but took a little funky bounce, maybe off the mound. And boy, he is so quick, so explosive, especially moving to his right.
Foul to the screen.
Chance for a 1-2-3 inning here for Teheran. He needs one. He has not been particularly efficient. That's the nature of the Cubs hitters. They see a lot of pitches, make starting pitchers work.
Should also note this ballpark was built for the Olympics.
Yeah.
And they made it the home of the Braves.
Land of the free. 1996, right?
Yeah, and it opened for Major League Baseball the following spring. Hendricks pops it up. Brzezinski doesn't know where it is. And Kelly Johnson does and makes the catch. 2-2 in the fourth. Don't miss out on the biggest party of the summer. Go to csnchicago.com/Lala to enter for your chance to win today. 2-2 tie as Kyle Hendricks works here in the bottom of the fourth. By the way, I was incorrect earlier in the scoreless streak ending, as Hendricks got a couple of outs in the first. They did change that years ago. Elias did. You got to complete the inning as a starting pitcher to add an inning to your streak. So it was 22 1/3. As Uribe fouls off.
Has not been as precise tonight as he usually is.
In the air to left, and Condon went back now in to get Uribe. Some names are just names, and some other names are fun to say. Juan Uribe is fun to say.
Well,
you have any particular favorites?
Well, I like the old Uribe out in San Francisco, and they used to
Jose?
chant, yeah, Uribe.
I believe they're related.
Well, I was always a big Biff Pocaroba guy.
Right. Didn't Chris Berman drop a Jose game-winning Uribe? I think that was his nickname. Pretty good. 1-1 on Przinsky. I think hate is always a strong word, especially when it comes to a kid's game. But I think it was easy for Cub fans to not like A.J. Przinsky when he was with the White Sox. But as we have long said, he is a heads-up player, very smart baseball player. He has gotten under the skin of opponents and maybe even teammates alike. But there's a reason he's still in the big leagues. And I like A.J. I'll admit it.
Was like a proclamation like at a 12-step meeting or something. I'm Len and I like AJ. Yeah.
Wasn't it Ozzie who said you hate him if you play against him, and if you play with him you hate him less?
A lot of those go. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the normal line is you hate him if you play against him, but if he's on your side you like him. But
right. Dump foul. And whenever he does retire, I think if he'd like a future in broadcasting, he'll have one. That one lined to Fowler for the out. I know AJ has done some postseason work the last couple of years, and he's not afraid. That's one, I think, requirement of guys who come off the field and into the booth, is you can't be afraid to say what you think, and he's not. Did you have a problem with that early? I think 97, so you're a couple years removed from the field of, maybe being a little critical of something that offended your baseball senses.
Yeah, I mean, there was so much to learn when you first get started in this business. But the one thing I didn't want to be the guy that forgot how hard it is to play, and you hear that a lot of guys come up here and
right.
second guess everything, and so I think you just have to be honest, and when you see some player mess up or do something wrong, you point it out, but you do realize that sometimes there are extenuating circumstances. And
Rizzo playing way off the line, but plenty of time to get to the bag, and that will end the inning. We go to the fifth. It's the Cubs 2 and the Braves 2.
10,000 fans will receive a Billy Williams replica statue presented by Pepsi. For more information, visit Cubs.com.
Great to be back with you. 24 games the next 24 days. Addison Russell leading off the Cubs' fifth. Strike one from Tehran.
Slider in the zone to get started. Now he'll start working off that outside corner.
Back through the middle, over the bag at second. Wide throw, infield hit, Addison Russell. And they're going to tag him, but I don't think he made any move to second.
Well, he turned around and looked over his shoulder, and that was about it. Thought for sure that ball was going to hit the base. But somehow it did not. Didn't matter. Base hit for Russell. Leadoff man aboard.
So here is Fowler. Got family and friends in attendance this weekend. Other notes from earlier this week: Carlos Pimentel, Iowa right-hander, started AAA All-Star game for the Pacific Coast League. Went 2 innings, gave up a run. They'll try to turn it here. Peterson, Simmons, and they turn it. 4-6-3. Just like that, 2 outs. It'll be up to Schwarber.
It's pretty much tailor-made, little backhanded flip to Simmons. He does the rest.
Arismendi Alcantara started AAA All-Star game in center field. Rafael Soriano has joined Iowa. He may not be too far off in terms of getting to the big leagues. 5 scoreless appearances for Tennessee and a scoreless inning last night with Iowa. One thing Joe has really stressed with his entire team, but you think more about it with your pitchers, is keeping everybody rested. That's the other thing, is if and when Soriano joins the bullpen, JD, is that he can take an inning here or there from Strop or Rondon or Ramirez. So, although Neal should be rested after spending that time on the DL, Mott. Everybody should be better off when you get into the final month. Well, that's good for those guys. I guess the bad is one of the relievers is probably thinking, I hope I'm not the one to get sent out when he shows up.
Yeah, but you know, with every big league club, if you were to ask the general manager to give you a depth chart of his pitching staff, there are going to be guys in the minor leagues that they regard higher than guys that are currently on the big league staff. That's just the nature of it.
Yeah. Fair ball. Hit number 3 for Schwarber tonight. Man, he's the Beatles. He is a hit machine.
Yeah, and I think we mentioned this when we were in Cleveland when he first came up. There is no higher league, Kyle. So this is as high as you can go, my friend. But it's an impressive show. And again, I pose the question: how are you going to keep this bat out of the lineup?
So small sample sizes, but all 6 levels in the Cubs chain: 600, 361, 302. 320, 333, and 4 something, because it was 417 here before that hit. 440 at the major league level. Give him a bat, he's going to hit.
Well, here we go. See if Tehran goes to work with the slider again. Yeah, and Chris able to lay off that one.
Yeah, there are going to be some plate appearances in the near future for Chris, and this may be one of them where if he just doesn't swing, they might not throw him 3 strikes. And that's where, as Joe I think mentioned before the game, the RBI opportunities may increase for Rizzo. If Schwarber keeps doing what he's doing, and if Bryant accepts his walks, just keep that line moving for your best hitter on deck.
Yeah, well, one of the reasons why Joe had the pitcher hitting 8th was he wanted to protect Addison Russell to a degree. He thought Russell would bring enough on base presence to provide some run scoring or RBI opportunities for Bryant and Rizzo. Team's been in a pretty good funk here for a while now offensively, so it certainly makes sense starting the second half to juggle things a little bit, try a different look. And part of it is because Schwarber's here, but I think even if Kyle weren't here, it might have made sense to play with the lineup a little bit, move Anthony down into the cleanup spot.
First fastball of the sequence, 2-2. It was there. It was in his zone. He missed it.
What he needs is a mistake slider.
Like he decided to change his batting gloves too. The other ones were not bearing any hits.
No, they were not.
Two on its way. Now it's 3-2. The new members of their bullpen, left-hander Ross Detweiler. The 3-2 to Bryant, and he went with a slider. It's in the dirt. Ball 4.
Well, back to the well, the chase slider, and this time Bryant able to lay off and take his base. Took it like he knew it was coming. Eddie Gonzalez.
That's it.
Contract extension, making his way to the mound.
So that'll end a streak of 8 straight 6-inning plus starts for Julio Teheran. Weber's sauces and seasonings called to the pen. Why grill with anything else? We mentioned the Braves made a bunch of moves before this game. Ross Detweiler, left-hander, and Jason Frazier, right-hander, both signed to major league contracts for the remainder of this season. See his numbers with Texas, not particularly good, but mercurial nature of relievers. Who knows? He could have the best 2 or 3 months of his life.
Yeah, Detweiler, veteran's been around a while now, formerly a starting pitcher with the Washington Nationals. Those numbers with the Rangers included some starts, but the numbers not pretty. 0-5, 7.12 ERA, and boy, gave up a lot of hits. Throws a ton of fastballs, 4-seamers and sinkers. Also has a curveball and a changeup. Manager's got new toys. He wants to play with them. So Detweiler, new to the club, gets an opportunity.
First and second, 2 outs, 5th inning. Way outside and low.
You can tell by Tehran's body language he was not happy with being removed from this game, but he was struggling with his control. He was up over 90 pitches. A very dangerous hitter coming into the box. Rizzo would be getting his 3rd look at him. This could be a game-changing at bat here.
Outside corner.
Been big out there, Dan Isanya. A lot of those pitches off the plate have been called strikes.
Detweiler 6'3", 215. Born in St. Louis, went to Missouri State. Debuted with the Nats 2007. 3rd major league club. Three and one.
You look at those numbers and you say, well, what were the Braves thinking? Why would they sign him? But a lot of times when you scout a guy, you say, well, we think if we use him in a certain fashion, he can have success. Maybe the way the Rangers were using him, the Braves people that were on him were saying, you know what, we don't, he's facing too many right-handed hitters, or we don't like, in certain situations he's been put in. And then there's always the change of scenery, right? Just take a veteran guy who's struggling, put him in a new uniform, and see if that creates a little magic.
Three and two. The runners go, and a chopper to Simmons. He'll lob to first to end the inning. Cubs strand a couple. We're tied at 2. Kyle Schwarber back in the big leagues, and he's 3 for 3 with a double. He has scored 1 run, and he is starting back at the plate for the first time in the big leagues. Uri Perez takes ball 1. The other thing to note about Schwarber, about this roster, about the lineup, it's a daily thing. It's a work in progress, and we tend with sports to try to have definitive answers. You can't take Schwarber out of the lineup. He's got to play tomorrow. He's got to play every day. These things do tend to work themselves out. The plan right now is that he's going to catch a few days a week. As we said earlier, he takes some reps during batting practice in the outfield just to learn the ropes out there. That is not the priority at the moment. Things can change. We didn't know he would even be here until reports surfaced yesterday, with Montero now on the disabled list. But the fact that he is here is a very good sign. If this had been last year, the year before, and the Cubs were 10 or 15 games under 500, you would not have brought him to the big leagues at this point. The fact that they're in the wild card spot right now, JD, means all hands on deck.
Winning trumps development.
Yeah,
and that's a good thing.
Johnny Gomes will bat in the pitcher spot.
Almost 6 out of 20 plus a home run as a pinch hitter. It's one department where the Braves have really stood out, hitting .252 in the pinch, second best in the league, trailing only the Milwaukee Brewers.
Pedro Siriaco is 5 for his last 9 in the pinch. Yeah, I mean, we're already getting tweets. What happens when Montero comes back? Well, he's not going to be back tomorrow. So,
yeah,
we'll let you know when he comes back. Cubs will need a starting pitcher on Wednesday in Cincinnati. Day-nighter. Not sure who that will be. Called strike. He was ready to take off the elbow pad and head to first, but instead he'll face a 3-2 pitch.
There have been a number of pitches off the plate called a strike tonight. That one right on the outside corner. Saturday, July 25th. Cubs will continue their series with the Phillies. First pitch will be at 3:05. First 10,000 fans in the ballpark will take home a Jorge Soler debut bobblehead presented by Illinois pork producers. For more information, visit Cubs.com.
It might have been the home run swing in Cincinnati last year. Road uniform, the debut.
It's any bobblehead, but the debut bobblehead.
Hit hard. Castro bobbles, still has time. Safe.
Off balance after he recovered and was not able to get enough on the throw. I still thought they had him, but apparently not. Not able to get behind that ball cleanly off the heel of his glove. Ooh.
Joe's going to challenge.
Yeah, I'm going to take a look at this one.
Tougher call on that angle. Looked like on the first shot he was out. For the Forsythe Technology replay review.
I'm not sure they're going to be able to overturn it. It looked out, but I don't know if there's enough there to. Based on what we've seen, my guess is play stands.
Yeah, it looked like he was out by maybe a half an inch, but it's hard to tell when the spike hit the bag.
Wow, called him out.
All right, so Joe will keep his challenge. So 2 outs in the inning. Here comes Peterson.
Joe Madden is perfect in the second half in challenges.
You're really good at small sample size math. Right field and off the wall. Peterson on his way to second. He's going to stop there with a 2-out double as he bangs one off the right field wall. Nearly carried on out of here. And that challenge worked out. Now we don't know if we would have given up this 2-out double, but had he with a runner on, might be 3-2 Atlanta.
I'm going to bring up Maben, who's 1 for 1 plus a walk here tonight.
Apparently there's a bank of lights that's out in Washington, so they've been in a delay for about an hour. Dodgers leading the Nationals 2-1 in the 4th inning in that one.
Bolsinger for the Dodgers, Jordan Zimmerman pitching for the Nats.
Here's Maben. Single, a walk, and a run.
Always a dangerous time in a ball game for a pitcher when he faces the middle of the order the 3rd time around. Middle of this brave order, not as menacing as many others, but still. Maben's having a very nice year. Markakis is hitting for average, and Johnson has decent power.
Pitcher and catcher will get together here.
Maybe the first time in Cub history they've had an all Kyle battery.
That's a good call. couldn't hold up on the high fastball to end the inning. Still tied at 2.
T-Mobile. There you go. That's Gabby at Gabby Baby.
There's right-hander Ryan Kelly. Second stint with the club as he was recalled today. Originally debuted back on June the 30th. Long-time minor league career.
Originally a 26th round draft pick of the Pittsburgh Pirates back in 2006. So he has certainly paid his dues. 27 years of age. 6'2", $180. This revamped Braves bullpen that has struggled. 4.40 bullpen ERA for the Braves. That's 14th out of 15 National League clubs. Tied for the most blown saves with 15, and they've allowed the most home runs in the NL. 31 long ones given up by the Braves bullpen. Pitching coach Roger McDowell, along with Freddie Gonzalez, the entire staff, extended through next year. Freddie has an option for 2017. That's the year the Braves will move into their new ballpark.
Kelly to Soler and a swing and a miss for strike one. 6th inning, 2-2. Kelly's got a cover, long throw, and it handcuffed him a little bit, but he caught the ball, found the bag. That'll go 3-1. So Kelly Johnson to Ryan Kelly. Kelly to Kelly for the out.
Not as far as you're going to see a first baseman go to make a play. Now, he was playing off the line to begin with, but where he ended up, you almost never see a first baseman over there. Not an easy play to make either.
Johnson's played a lot of seconds, so it worked.
Yeah.
Now Coghlan. It's almost irrelevant to point out that the Braves have won 7 in a row against the Cubs, because you look At the Braves lineup tonight, some of these new bullpen guys, they're wearing the Braves uniform, but not many were part of that winning streak against the Cubs. And the Cubs have a lot of guys who are facing the Braves for the first time.
Yeah, it's kind of like that old Seinfeld bit. It's, those shirts against those shirts, and the white shirts have been a lot better in these head-to-head matchups. The people inside those shirts have changed a lot over the last couple of years.
Line center field, and Maben did the right thing as he was not going to catch that ball, and had it short hopped him, it may have gotten by him.
Yeah, it's tough to anticipate a ball hit on that line staying up the way it did. And this is really well struck by Coughlin. I mean, at the end of the day, he probably could have come in and made a play on that ball, but again, when it's hit on that kind of a trajectory, just don't anticipate it staying in the air that long. Ball's got a little air under it, it's a little blooper, and you leave your feet, maybe you're giving up one extra base. If it's a sinking line drive and you leave your feet and you don't knock it down, Coughlin's got 3, might even circle the bases.
Diving return to the bag by Coughlin. Ryan Kelly from Hilton Head, South Carolina, went to Walters State Community College, Morristown, Tennessee. And as far as I know, he's the first major leaguer to come out of that program. Nicknamed the Senators.
I was going to say, I got nothing for you on that one. Walters State Senators. The State Senators.
Yeah, they play in the Tennessee Junior and Community College Athletic Association. I know you know all the teams in the conference. We don't have enough time tonight to go through it.
I've got a poster at home with all their
all the pennants.
Yep.
Yep. There goes Coughlin, hit and run. Tag, force, 2. Inning over. Still tied at 2. Brewers, included with their game ticket, all participants get a commemorative Cubs-themed scout patch. For more information and to purchase seats, it's Cubs.com/special events. To try to stay out of the double play, and the hit and run actually led Peterson right to second base where the ground ball was. 4-3 inning ender and a strike to Nick Markakis. Inside that time, 1 ball, 1 strike. We should note, while Markakis did not homer in the first half, he did have offseason neck surgery after signing with the Braves as a free agent. It may have taken away some of his power. He had a major league record errorless streak come to an end in June. 398 consecutive errorless games. Big swing and a miss. 2-2.
Like he wanted to start the second half with a long ball home run swing, but no contact. He passed Darren Lewis, who had a 392 game streak back in the early 90s.
Markakis went nearly 3 calendar years between errors as he whiffs to start the Braves' 6th. 5 strikeouts for Kyle Hendricks. A lot of deception there. Just threw a fastball by him.
Big leg kick, long stride, and a late swing. Just curveballs to come back and get Johnson, strike him out last time he was up. Threw a high fastball by Maben, then the 5th, the heater to get Markakis here in the 6th. Not as many changeups for Hendricks here tonight. I just feel like, I'm guessing he feels like he just never really got the feel for that pitch. Not that he's abandoned it altogether, but hasn't featured it as much as he normally does. And there was one there, and it was way up.
Softly hit on the ground. It'll be cut off by Russell in front of Bryant in the shift. 2 outs.
Hendricks resourceful here tonight. He does not have his A game, but he's pitching quality baseball.
Catcher's interference. So Johnson aboard, and I believe, that'll be an error on Schwarber. No official at bat for Johnson.
Caught reaching, got to let that ball travel.
So second error on Schwarber tonight. I don't want you to dig into the rule book, but I believe on catcher's interference, the ball is not dead. Right. So the umpire points at the catcher. The hitter, the offensive team, is allowed to take either the result of the play or first base.
Kind of like a balk.
As a result of interference. So if he hit a home run, you'd take the home run. Yep. Greg Counsell was particularly good at getting that call. I don't know if he ever did it on purpose, but I seem to recall multiple times he'd have that big backswing. Catch part of the mitt. One and one on Uribe, outside for a ball. Juan has 2 World Series rings. The 05 White Sox and the 2010 Giants. Luis Avilan, left-hander, up in the Atlanta pen. Closers now Jim Johnson after the season-ending injury last weekend to Jason Grilli. He went 2-2. Top to third. It's foul.
The Met Cardinal game we were talking about earlier is 1-0 Mets. They scored one in the top of the first. That lead is held up. They're in the middle of the sixth. So Lynn and Syndergaard, the starting pitchers, both very good, as they have been all year long.
Bryant will try to go around the horn, and they can only get one. Ball was not hit hard enough. So fielder's choice for Uribe. 2 outs. Bring up Przinsky, although Joel wants to make sure. The video guys. Looks like no challenge.
No challenge, but perhaps a pitching change.
The catcher's interference is going to keep Kyle Hendricks from getting through 6. And he'll be an out shy of a quality start, but still pretty good tonight. Weber Sauces and Seasonings call to the pen in Atlanta.
With a solid first half, pitching to a 1.19 ERA, tremendous strikeout rate, 33 punch outs in just 22 2/3 innings. He's walked 11, allowed 15 hits, and only 1 long ball. A.J. Przinsky, 2 real good swings off Kyle Hendricks here tonight, lined out both times, but Joe Madden did not want to give Przinsky another look at Hendricks.
A product of the University of Georgia.
Rim with a mid-90s heater and one of the sharper curveballs in the National League, and would not be surprised to see him start Brzezinski with that breaking ball. AJ very aggressive, hardly ever walks.
Ball one. AJ does not go up there looking to walk. He loves to swing the bat. Just before the break, he had a 10 for 13 stretch. And he swings the bat and lines one into right. Uribe stops at second.
3 really well hit balls by Brzezinski here tonight. Only 1 base hit. He's been on the backside of the baseball all night long. A few brave hitters have been swinging it pretty well here of late. They just swept in a 4-game series in Colorado before the break. Held to 3 runs or fewer in all 4 of those ball games.
Feels like a similar refrain, this type of low scoring affair. The Cubs have had a lot of them. 1-1. Offense averaging 2.5 runs per game their last 19. The pitching staff with a 212 earned run average over the last 13. The starters at 149 last couple of weeks before the break. And what a finish to the first half for Jake Arrieta. He beat the White Sox Sunday, went the distance, and hit a home run.
But he enjoyed his all-star break.
Oh, yeah.
Perhaps except for thinking, man, I should be there. That was huge. Cubs lost the first 2 games of that series to the White Sox. And Arrieta just put the team on his back and said, I got this, fellas.
All of a sudden the bases are loaded. It'll be Perez, the left fielder.
Yeah, and we talked about it with Kyle. With the All-Star break, starters get extra rest. Relief guys who are used to pitching frequently obviously have not with the 4-day break. Sometimes there's a little rustiness that comes along with it. A little pressure on Schwarber here with that grim breaking ball. That pitch can be tough to block sometimes.
Yuri Perez, bases loaded, 2 outs. 2-2 tie in the 6th. Here we go. At the knees at 95.
Well, if you're worried about bouncing a breaking ball, 95 at the knees isn't a bad plan B.
Castro, off balance throw, inning over. They strand 3, and that'll take us into the 7th. 2-2.
History in the making. Join the season ticket holder waiting list. It's easy and free to register. For details, visit Cubs.com/waitlist.
Two as we get into the 7th inning.
This one will be decided by the bullpens. Luis Avilan, third reliever to work for the Braves here tonight.
Couldn't they have gotten Jose Feliciano to do an updated version of his big hit? Luis Avilan.
I think you should bring that up to the Braves marketing people. Yeah.
Righty's hitting $179. Lefty's over 300 against Avilan. Here's Denorfia off the bench.
Some backward splits, eh? Real good changeup. That's probably a big reason why. Decent giddy up on the fastball. Changeup is his best secondary pitch. He also throws a curveball and he'll cut his heater.
Up and away for ball 1.
There's the changeup, not well delivered. And got Brzezinski's attention. And man, if you're going to throw that pitch, commit to it, finish it.
Dude, those first 2 pitches were awful.
You sure you warmed up?
What do you call that pitch? I've never seen that one before. 2-0. There's a strike.
Oof. Man. The zone's been peculiar to say the least tonight.
Simmons in the hole. And is he smooth? And he made that look like as routine a ground ball as there is, and that's not easy. That's in the hole, deep hole at short. That's probably the longest throw an infielder makes.
And he's in a real good throwing position when he gets it. He's so quick. He's got such quick feet, and he's just got such a lively body. You watch his actions. Everything about him is quick. And that's what I was talking about earlier. I think, he's one of those guys that
it makes it look too easy.
Yeah, and he probably, I mean, he's so good defensively. For me, he should have been on the All-Star team.
Well, how many All-Stars do you have in a particular year where guys are either below average or just flat out bad defenders, but are great offensive players?
Or just good offensive players, and people look at the numbers and go, okay,
right, he's in.
Right. But that's a pitch. That's, you know, that position is one where you really should honor the best defender. Talking to his glove. I love you, man.
Well, that's where Brandon Crawford has become a really good player.
Yeah,
he does it all. First time All-Star for the San Francisco Giant. Popped up by Russell. Johnson's got it. Batting right-handed against the southpaw. Reached down an error in the first, walk scored in the third, bounced into a 4-6-3 double play in the fifth.
Avilan a couple of years ago was a big part of the Braves bullpen when they won 96 games. He had a 1.52 ERA that year in 75 appearances. Step in the wrong direction last year as he pitched to a 4.57 earned run average.
All of a sudden the Cardinals lead the Mets. Johnny Peralta homering off Noah Syndergaard.
Almost as if he heard our all-star shortstop conversation.
Yeah, right. Peralta's been absolutely terrific. Feathered foul to right.
Meanwhile, in Milwaukee, the Brewers lead the Pirates 2-0. Mike Fiers has a good one going for the Brew Crew.
Got a bunch of games against those two teams down the stretch.
Now they're looking to get on for Schwarber.
That will get into center. And it will get Schwarber to the plate. The Binny's Beverage Depot toast of the game. The rookie Kyle Schwarber back. 6-game stint in June. Has returned to the big leagues in style tonight.
And we've talked a lot about his patience. We've talked about his power and just sweet swing here tonight. A couple of singles and a double. All to the pull side, but he does have very good power the other way.
So his first hit at 3 different levels. AA, AAA, the big leagues. A triple.
And it was a triple for him in the Futures game the other day that earned him that MVP.
Yep.
Well, and when you look at Kyle, you don't think triple, you don't think of speed, but he does move well.
Marlon Byrd is a triple shy of the cycle for the Reds tonight. They lead Cleveland 5-0 in the 6th. White Sox lost the opener of their day-nighter against the Royals 4-2. They lead the nightcap 1-0 in the top of the 6th. Volquez and Danks pitching in that one. 0-1, almost hit him.
Capper should score Fowler.
He was eyeing that third deck and right on that swing.
Just a little late getting that front foot down.
Fowler runs on the 2-2 and Schwarber fouls. Got him picked off this time, and that will end the inning. So Schwarber will have to lead off the Cubs 8th, but first the Braves will bat in the bottom of the 7th. Near Clark and Addison. And for drivers, the Cubs provide free parking and shuttle service on night and weekend games. 3900 North Rockwell. For details, visit Cubs.com. Stretch time here in Atlanta. And Hector Rondon getting ready for the bottom of this inning. Hendricks, Grimm, And now Rondon, Tehran, Detweiler, Kelly, Avilan so far for Atlanta.
Justin Grimm allowed a couple base runners, but was able to work out of that jam in the 6th. Braves stranded 3 on base. Rondon takes over here in the 7th. '40th time he's trotted out there. 2.17 the ERA for Hector. 12 saves and 15 tries. He hasn't been in that spot very much here lately.
Pinch hitter Pedro Siriaco.
Here's a good name for you.
.29 years old. Pirates, Red Sox, Padres, Royals, Braves. Signed originally with the Diamondbacks back in '03, and he cuts and misses on 97.
A little tardy on the Cholula. Kyle Hendricks tonight, 5 2/3, 4 hits, 2 runs, one of which was earned, 1 walk. It's pretty much average for him. 5 strikeouts.
99 from Rondon. 0-2.
Well rested with the break. He's firing bullets. He wants to go outside.
Well, he is outside. Oh. 1-2.
Not really subtle, was it? Hitter's down, looking at his feet, tapping his toes, and he's motioning with his head to Schwarber where he wants to go with that heater.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. You could have said, hey, Pedro, here's where I'm going to throw it. It might not have mattered.
Yeah, here you go. It's coming at you at 99. Catch me if you can.
Peterson 1 for 3 with a double. Braves used 49 players in the first half. Their club record for a single season is 50, and I think Detweiler makes 50, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think in the 29th pitcher that they've used.
They've had 12 different players make their major league debut. 10 of the 12 pitchers. So yeah, you're seeing a lot of names on the back of that familiar jersey. It may not look very familiar. 3-1. Gets by everybody. Ball 4.
In many of his outings prior to the break, that last 2-3 weeks, Hector has gone out to a little bit of a different approach, throwing more 2-seamers, working with some sliders, even throwing a few changeups. Tonight, obviously, he feels very crisp, and he's just leaning on that number 1. Not easy for a young catcher to take on that role, but that's part of the job description. Go out there and take charge of the situation.
You see Ross in there tomorrow night with John Lester. Maben called strike.
Quick feet, quick tag by Rizzo made it close. Markakis stole second base back in the first inning, went to third as the throw from Schwarber sailed into center field. That led to their first inning run. Rondon not particularly quick to home plate, and Schwarber pretty new at the position at this level, brand new. I can understand why Freddie Gonzalez might be thinking about stealing a base here.
Out at first, they got him that time. Jace Peterson picked off by Hector Rondon.
Just got done talking about his quick feet. Freddie Gonzalez and wait and let his guys review this one. Ooh, yeah, I don't know. They're probably going to want to take a look.
Yeah, he is challenging. Let's see. Very close.
Yeah, wow.
Is there enough evidence? I don't know. Time for a Forsythe Technology replay review.
Sometimes when a pitcher goes over there and he just wants to make sure he lets the guy know that he's aware of him, just trying to tighten up his lead a little bit. There are other times when you go over with the intent of trying to pick him off, and clearly that's what Rondon had in mind.
I just love the psychology of when a guy knows that he might have made a huge mistake. He's lingering around the bag as if to tell everybody, I knew I was safe.
Yeah.
And we see a lot of base runners just refuse to head to the dugout. But it's in the hands of the umpires in New York at this point, and I don't know if there's enough evidence to overturn. Cubs certainly hope that's the case. It'll be 2 outs, nobody on.
They were pretty quick last time when Joe challenged and overturned a call that we thought was going to be tough to overturn as well. So maybe maybe they've got a different look at this one also. Meantime, Rondon's going to make a couple tosses, make sure he stays loose. Yeah, so would you rather go off the field when you've been called out initially, or have to do the walk of shame after the replay review? That's the question.
Right. So anyway, what did you do during the break? You're saying, yeah, well, took a little vacation. You? Yeah, well,
play a little golf, yeah. Threw a couple steaks on the grill.
By the way, in case you missed it, the American League will have home field advantage in the World Series.
6-3 was the final of the Midsummer Classic. Mike Trout was the MVP for the second consecutive year. That's the first time that's ever happened. Out you are. There you go.
So 2 outs here in the 7th. Nobody on. And an 0-1 2-1 count on Maben. Call stands, which would lead me to believe that whatever the original call was over there probably would have stood. It was that close. Well, Schwarber wanted that slider in the dirt, and Hector Rondon smiling as he's heading off the field. It was so bad it was great. 2-2 after 7. Cincinnati Reds join us for the first pitch at 6 right here on CSN Chicago. Former Cub Arodys Vizcaíno is on. Braves brought him back in the Tommy La Stella deal in November, and in April got suspended for 80 games for a positive PED test. See what he's done in 4 appearances to this point. Spent a lot of his time in the Cubs organization rehabbing from arm surgery.
A hard thrower is Vizcaíno. Originally signed with the Yankees and came over to the Braves. And as Len mentioned, then the Cubs and back here in Atlanta. Coming back from the suspended list, he's worked at 3 different levels in their minor league system, and now a chance to impress Freddie Gonzalez and the big league staff. They've been known to reach triple digits with that heater.
So Schwarber swings at the first pitch. Remember, he was at the plate when the 7th ended. He grounds out 3-1. In the 8th, 2-2. Bryant has yet to put a ball in play. 2 strikeouts and a walk.
And all 3 of those plate appearances coming against the starter Julio Teheran, who really mesmerized Chris with his slider in his first 2 at bats, and then threw him a 3-2 slider off the plate. Last time up, he was able to take it for ball 4. Vizcaíno doesn't throw sliders. He throws a curveball to complement his good heater.
Yeah, and it's a power curve. That was a fastball outside. Ball 1. Pedro Strop.
They're doing the wave here at Turner Field. At least they started to. It's turned into a little ripple.
Three and 0 on Bryant.
I saw you the home plate umpire tonight. It's been interesting. He's been big, wide. He's called some pitches up, but that knee high over the plate, for the most part, it's been a ball.
Bryant lines it right to Uribe.
Well positioned was Uribe. It would have been 2 bases for Bryant. Hit it right on the screws.
It's a 3-0 swing for an out, but he hit it hard. And Rizzo, he lined out hard. The second in the first, walked in the third, and grounded to short in the fifth. Cubs runs coming on a Jorge Soler 2-out, 2-run single in the third. Run scoring hits for Atlanta. Kelly Johnson in the first, Nick Markakis in the third. That's it. Nothing since. One ball, one strike. Here it comes. Fouled away.
Fun summer to be a Cub fan. A resurgent team, all this young talent, and man, do they play some dramatic games. I mean, so many tight ball games.
19 and 16 in 1-run decisions, 7 and 2 in 2-run games, and that'll be it for the Cubs in the 8th. Tied at 2. Mentioned we're in a barn burner. What else is new? Here's Pedro Strop. 2-2 ball game.
Yeah, it puts a lot of pressure on these relievers, but they've held up quite nicely, and now Strop gets his turn. And he's on for the 44th time.
You know, and actually kind of expanding your point a little bit, you look at Pedro's numbers, almost 39 innings, 19 hits, 17 walks. He's been really good, but because the Cubs play all these close games, when a reliever gives up a run, a lot of times it's the deciding run.
Yeah.
And then fans go, "Wow, you can't use this guy."
Yeah,
well,
we can't trust him. He gave up a run. Not been many nights where that guy's been able to tuck that sheet in his back pocket and fold his arms and enjoy a nice 8-2 win.
1-1 on Markakis. You've got former Oriole teammates here. Strop versus Markakis.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, hit the bat.
Yeah.
So that ball will be removed, and it should be 1-2. Quick pitch. Markakis seemed to know it was coming, but as is largely the case, he swung at it. Seems to
gets swung at a lot and rarely gets anything positive happens for the hitter. We still need to find out that number, batting average on Strop quick pitch.
Yeah, this is an offense. It really misses Freddie Freeman. Kind of the one guy they couldn't be without for any length of time. And a bullpen that lost its closer, Jason Grilli. Two pretty devastating injuries to this Braves club. Swing and a miss. You've got an untested young leadoff hitter. Maben hitting second's been very good. Markakis without a homer hitting third. Kelly Johnson's not your prototypical cleanup guy. Uribe and Przinsky very late in their careers. Simmons is the defensive shortstop, and Eury Perez hitting 8th. So it's.
Yeah, and they got some good young starting pitching. Shelby Miller, an all-star. This kid Tehran, who started tonight. Numbers aren't good, but he's very talented, and he's been good the last 2 seasons.
2-2 from Strop is hooked into right. Soler will try to cut it off. Johnson hustling around first, going to try for 2, and he's going to make it. Go-ahead run is at second with 1 out. It's his second hit tonight.
RBI single in the first. And he stays back nicely on that backdoor slider from Strop.
So you say all of that, and now you got the veteran guys. And if you're Freddie Gonzalez, this is probably the spot you'd like to be in your lineup, right? A veteran hitter trying to.
Yeah, I think he probably would tell you he trusts these 2 guys as much as anybody on his club.
Ball 1.
It doesn't appear to be a whole lot of panic in Uribe.
He lines softly to Rizzo, who throws to Castro, who's really nowhere near the bag. 2 outs.
It was just a reaction play by Rizzo. He didn't want to take a look and think about it, so he just flung it over there just in case Johnson had drifted too far off the base.
Oh, and as if anybody wondered the amount of respect the Cubs and Joe Madden had for A.J. Przinsky in this spot. And this is the first time Joe has managed against A.J. as a Cubs skipper. This is the right play.
Yeah, well,
he's beaten the Cubs a lot.
Yeah, and he's also hit 3 rockets tonight. So he's seeing the ball very, very well.
Cubs did not face him 18, 19 times a year like they do Yadier Molina, but he has come up with way too many big game-winning RBIs against them in his career. So it'll be up to Simmons. Strop with a 1-0. Now 1-1.
Not real good action on that pitch.
A bit out in front.
Ooh, why not? Somebody in that Cub dugout is yelling all night long.
Yeah. Two and two.
He is very creative out there. That time, a little hesitation, El Teante type turn. See Johnny Cueto lately, the funky stuff he's doing, all the shimmying and shaking he's doing.
No.
Oh, yeah, have to check it out.
Well, we may see him next week, assuming he hasn't been traded by that point. Knocked down by Schwarber.
Schwarber out to have a chat with Strop. The catcher could just by the way he sells a pitch to you can make a difference.
Runners go 3 and 2, and it's ball 4 to load him. Comes Chris Bosio before Perez bats.
Siriaco and Gomes have already hit for the Braves. Turdlasevich out on deck. He was just recalled. He's a switch hitter.
Detroit beat Baltimore tonight 7-3. J.D. Martinez hit his 26th for the Tigers.
Hey, he also robbed a home run.
Yeah, made a big catch in right.
I mean, he's been good in the past, but they have that breakout award. Seems like he'd be a pretty good candidate.
So the Tigers a game over 500, and the Orioles now a game below. So 3 on 2 outs in a 2-2 tie as we play the 8th. Into right, they're going to score a couple. Johnson is in. Brzezinski scores. Ball gets by. It's 4-2. Aori Perez with a go-ahead 2-run single.
So it wasn't the veterans. It was the youngster Perez who delivers the big blow. Strope's got to be backing up home there. No further damage was done, but you got to play the whole game.
So it'll be at least a 2-run lead for Jim Johnson, who will get the ball in the ninth. The eighth is not over yet. Here's Terdoslavich off the bench. Ball one. Line caught by Russell. With the damage done, it's 4-2 Atlanta as we go to the ninth. That'll bring on 6'6", 240-pound right-hander Jim Johnson, who had back-to-back 50 save seasons for Baltimore, 2012, 2013. Last year, much different story. Had an ERA in the 7s between Oakland and Detroit. But setting up had been terrific in front of the Jason Grilli here, and he's now in the closer's role with Grilli done for the year.
And still has good stuff. Mid-90s heater, a curveball and a changeup. Gets a lot of ground balls with the two-seam fastball.
Chopper toward third. It's foul off the bat of Soler. Coghlan, Castro, pinch hitter. If anybody reaches.
And Soler, 2-run single back in the third. But was thrown out trying to advance to second base. Rizzo was on third, so an opportunity to do a little more damage in that inning was lost by some bad base running.
Just on the outside corner. There's John Lester. The wind in the 2-2 is way off the plate in. No real pattern here in this particular sequence. Johnson to Soler. That ball is foul. Just foul to right.
Control was a big issue for Johnson last year. A lot of walks. He's been able to cut that down so far this season.
Called strike 3. Got him on the outside. See Toyota pitch tracks right on the edge of that box for the first out.
So there maybe looking middle in, maybe thought he'd get a breaking ball, but a well placed fastball by Johnson to finish him off.
Well, that missed opportunity in the first inning for the Cubs looming large. They had runners at first and third to start the game. Could not get a run in. The inning when they did score, Soler with a 2-run single, then he was an easy out at second to end that threat. And not really much since. The 1-1 to Coghlan. Hit hard on the ground, but right at Johnson, the first baseman. 2 gone. It'll be up to Castro.
Tough night for Starlin so far. Struck out swinging, struck out looking, and then bounced into a double play last time. Baseball provides opportunities for redemption. Secret weapon, Jonathan Herrera, is out on deck.
$42,532 in the ballpark tonight. A large vocal group of Cub fans are here too. Braves trying to notch their 8th straight win against the Cubs and snap a 5-game skid this season, and it'll happen right here. Peterson to Johnson, and that'll do it as the Braves take game 1. So we mentioned the missed chance in the first tonight, JD, but really the Braves bullpen was better than the Cubs. Detweiler, Kelly, Avilan, Vizcaíno, Johnson gave up a combined 2 hits in over 4 innings of work.
Yeah, coming off the All-Star break, obviously well-rested arms in both bullpens, and Freddie Gonzalez made an early move to his. Teran went just 4 2/3. His guy stood tall tonight. A couple missed opportunities for the Cubs, and essentially the same old story, just not enough offense.
Vizcaíno